Right here on the night team, 2021 is one of Louisville's deadliest years on record. This year, the victims and offenders are younger than years past. Of the 172 homicides LMPD detectives have investigated, 21 victims were under the age of 18. So are 6 of the suspects arrested so far. It's a reality one Louisville man knows well. Locked up at the age of 16 years old, he talked with Kristen Goodwillie about what led to his decisions as police and prosecutors look for ways to break the cycle of violence.
I ain't been to prom. I missed my 18th birthday, my 21st birthday. I ain't never had a car or nothing like that.
22-year-old Lamont Gracia was a teenager when he was first incarcerated.
I didn't have as much as everybody else had, so I always felt like out of place.
Arrested for burglary.
Yeah, I'm from Louisville. I'm from Newburgh. It was kind of rough growing up.
A product of his surroundings, Gracia didn't see another way out.
Because that's all I've witnessed my whole life is jail and death.
Jefferson County prosecutors are seeing an alarming trend in kids committing crimes.
It used to be that it would be 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds who were being brought upstairs as youthful offenders, but now, I mean, there are 14-year-old carjackers.
Not only are the ages trending down, the crimes are becoming more violent.
And a lot of the murders have been juvenile related, either victim or defendant.
Getting to the root of the issue, police and prosecutors have identified 3 main reasons for the uptick in violence.
A lot of what I've seen seems to involve social media slights. Different groups of people are able to continue to have like beefs and frictions that maybe without social media they wouldn't have that connection.
Arguments and bullying are now happening on social media.
I'm not saying like social media causes this, but social media is the platform on which they insult each other now.
Well, not every homicide has a direct link. It is an ever-increasing presence in their cases.
We do have some cases where we know for sure that the fight started on social media, and I would imagine a lot of these drive-bys are for that reason.
It's not a coincidence the 2 most violent years in Louisville happened during the pandemic. Gyms and community centers were closed down. Kids were left at home instead of in school.
So I think just the isolation of the pandemic probably is a large driver of this, but it started before the pandemic, so it's more than that.
Police believe it's the lack of a juvenile detention system in the city after the youth detention center closed in 2019.
The biggest reason that we have an increase in shooters that are juveniles is the lack of consequences. There are no consequences for these juveniles in this city. They know it.
No one with LMPD was available for an interview, but Chief Shields addressed it on the department's podcast.
I think police more than anyone see the trajectory that these kids are on and know that if there is not some level of interference run, they are going to end up in a body bag.
It's a fine line between balancing a fair sentence and committing a kid into the system.
We've got to deal with the people who are committing carjackings right now. Like, they have to be taken off the street at least for a short time. You cannot just bring somebody in, send them back out to the same neighborhood with the same friends and hope that a day in the courtroom fixed it.
Gracia was resentenced at 18, like all juveniles in the state of Kentucky. He's spent the last 4 years in state prison.
No, I did the wrong thing, but they could have gave me another chance at life.
It's a problem that Gracia says has more to do with resources or a lack of them.
I was growing up, there wasn't no programs in my neighborhood that did anything like that. There wasn't nobody who did nothing like that.
Officials agree funds for youth services have been depleting for years.
Some people in the state are a little more fiscally minded, and they don't want to invest as much resources into that program and those programs as they need to.
And we need programs for those kids, programs for the families, to give them help to keep them out of this.
And this year in particular, more teens are being killed. It's a reality Gracia is well aware of. He's had friends die from gun violence while being locked up.
A lot of things that need to be touched on, or it's just going to keep happening. People's just going to keep dying. Kids is going to keep going to jail. And it's just going to be the same cycle.